gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow participants. Greetings, I extend to you a warm welcome to this very important conference of United Kashmir People's National Party on extremism and violence and its impact on societies. Today, I will moderate this conference. My name is Nasir Aziz Khan, Central Spokesperson of United Kashmir People's National Party. Today's conference will be presided by Sardar Amjad Yusuf. He is the President of United Kashmir People's National Party Europe Zone. First, we introduce this topic. Then I will request my distinguished panelists. They will shed light on this topic. We are graced with very high-level panelists. They are full of knowledge, experiences, and expertise, and they will graduate us on this topic. Extremism and violence is a great problem, not only for the Kashmiris, because we belong to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and our area is known as Azadkashmir, which is illegally occupied by Pakistan since 1947. And every year, in every session during the United Nations Human Rights Council, we try our best to bring experts, academic, human rights defenders, politicians, lawyers, journalists, and media persons to come and listen and watch our grievances, what is happening in our areas. This is unfortunate that since 1947 we are facing state terrorism. Our state was forcibly divided, and Kashmiris residing on both sides of LOC are the victim of violence and terrorism. Kashmiris are progressive and Sufi traditions, but some states like Pakistan, they promoted radicalism and extremism. They trained extremist groups, they sent in Kashmir for so-called jihad, and Kashmiris lost their lives. Young boys, they are brainwashed and used as a child soldier for their nefarious designs. One district from Azad Kashmir Bagh, 22 teenagers are forcibly taken by the extremist groups for the armed training and the purpose of so-called jihad in Azad Kashmir. First, I will introduce the panelists, then after their presentation, we will open this floor for short comments and questions. Today, in our panel, we have Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. He is a renowned politician from Pakistani administrated Kashmir. He is the chairman of United Kashmir People's National Party. We have Madame Micheline Joma. She is the president of UKPNP International, an NGO having special ECOSOC status with United Nations. We have Dr. Joseph Konsi Aya, Executive Director of Center for Human Rights and Peace Advocacy. We have Dr. Nasir Dashti. He is a renowned author, writer, historian, Executive President, Lodge Human Rights Council. Mr. Junaid Qureshi. He is the Executive Director for European Foundation for South Asian Studies. We have Fazal Rahman Afridi. He is the Pashtun leader, President, Harvard Institute for Research and Strategic Studies. Mr. Munir Mehengal, he will join us shortly. He is the President Lodge Vice Association. Saint Lakul Lohano is the Secretary General of World Sindhi Congress, renowned Sindhi leader fighting for Sindhu Desh. Ms. Shazia Sultana, she is from International Forum for Secular Bangladesh. Mr. Jamil Maksood, Secretary Foreign Affairs, United Kashmir People's National Party. We have Sajid Hussain, Secretary Information, United Kashmir People's National Party, Europe Zone. Now I would like to request Mr. Jamil Maksood. He will introduce the topic and speak as a first speaker of this conference. Sir, you have the floor, please.
Hello? Yeah. Yes, it's fine. Good evening, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, fellow comrades, NGOs representatives and political leaders from various regions of South Asia and mainly the nations which were handed over to Punjab in 1947. The nation of Sindh, the nation of Balochistan and the nation of Pashtun, and we people of a part of erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. So currently we are divided into 5 regions, 5 parts. The major chunk of our land and the population is under the administration of India, and other 1/3 part was occupied and colonized by Pakistan under Operation Gibraltar in 1947, and then strategically important region Gilgit-Baltistan, which has its border link with 5 neighboring countries via Wakhan corridor, was handed over to Pakistan under a so-called Karachi Agreement on 28th of April 1949. Many researchers, journalists and political leaders have claimed that that agreement was fake and illegal, since the question of Jammu and Kashmir was taken at UN Security Council on 6th of January 1948. We have a long history of proxy wars, proxy militancy and proxy politics in our region. At a time when India wins freedom after a peaceful political struggle of many years, and Pakistan was created to serve the British interest, the imperial interest in the region, our state was attacked. And until there was no social media, our people were not aware who actually orchestrated that attack. And after 70 years, our youth, students, researchers, political activists came to know when they got the book of Major General Muhammad Akbar Khan, who was the man clear behind that attack. The invaders of Kashmir and Rawalpindi Sazish case, Rawalpindi conspiracy case. And another book that PDF, that a history of a lost nation. And again, another operation was launched in Jammu and Kashmir in 1965, and that was Operation Gibraltar. And I hope many of the participants are well aware about the Gibraltar, where it is. It is next to Spain. And then, again, in 1971 and 1999, Operation Operation Mountaineering, and in Bangladesh, Operation Searchlight, in Pashtun areas, Operation Zarb-e-Azab, Zarb-e-Ghazab, Zarb-e-Sward, this sword, that sword, and in Balochistan is the same story that our respective panelists will shed light. I would limit it to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And because of this militancy and proxy war, they destroyed the social fabric and economy of our people. The youth, those who were trained and sent across the line of control, ceasefire line, and also in various parts of the world, particularly in Afghanistan, when they came back, they had no job because they were not trained to have a job. They were not trained to work in some fields or in some other services areas. Over the years, they have learned only to kill and to be killed. So those retired militants were sent in Jammu and Kashmir, and they unprecedentedly killed men, women, children, elderly people. And their main target has always been the non-Muslims. Even they have targeted many secular Muslim scholars, lawyers, professors, doctors, political activists, and journalists. Even they did not spare their fellow female journalists, writers in Kashmir Valley. And in our part, which is known as Azad Kashmir, Azad in Urdu means free and independent, but we have everything except freedom. It is said by the BBC. BBC will describe Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir that you may call it anything but not free, but not independent. Because under the interim constitution of 1974, the first and foremost restriction on freedom of assembly was introduced under Article 7, Sub-Article 3, that no person or political party in Azad Jammu and Kashmir shall be allowed to take part in activities which are prejudicial or detrimental to the ideology of state accession to Pakistan. Whereas Article 257 of the Constitution of Pakistan claims that when our people of Jammu and Kashmir would decide to accede to Pakistan, the terms and conditions shall be determined as per wishes of the people of that state in Jammu and Kashmir. So, the Article 7 Sub-Article 3 is clearly in contradiction with Article 257 of the Constitution of Pakistan. And then we have Article 11, Article 31, 32, 33 and 56. And it is said that the government of Pakistan has resumed its responsibilities under UN Security Council resolution, which is a complete white lie in a broad daylight. In a modern day information technology, we can read UN resolutions, UNCIP recommendations, the stipulations of truce agreement signed, agreed on 13th of August 1948, but Pakistan continuously lying with its own people, with the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and also with the international community. That whatever whatever we are doing under the auspices of UN Security Council resolutions. Whereas UN Security Council has asked Pakistan to withdraw its military, its civilians, and establish a local authority, meaning the local people shall operate their authority without any foreign interference. But instead, Pakistan withdrawing its military and other civilians who entered into our state for the purpose, not only the purpose of war, but for the purpose of looting. They kidnapped our women and then they were sold into the brothels of Peshawar in Lahore, just in €1.50. So that was the first operation, that was the first policy of decolonization that affected us. That's why we are here in Geneva. We hold protest in front of the United Nations Human Rights Council, and it is from the last 23 years. And before, there was very less knowledge about Pakistan administered Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan because we had no voice here. We had no representation. We had no person here. And the first person who arrived, who was compelled to leave his native homeland, is amongst us, is between us, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, who was kidnapped by inter-services intelligence in 1994 and 1998. And he was released by the pressure of the United Nations Human Rights Council, US State Department, British Home Office, and many international non-governmental organizations. That if even Amnesty International said that if you will not release Mr. Kashmiri, we will declare him the prisoner of conscience. That's why after 8.5 months, he was thrown in a very far-flung area near Afghanistan or somewhere. And here, we are like this. He was the first man who came into Switzerland, and he has opened the doors of United Nations Human Rights Council. He struggled. He visited British Parliament, House of Commons, Canada, and many other European capitals, and tirelessly and constantly advocating the respect, promotion, and protection of fundamental human rights. Sometimes people may think that political rights are from a political perspective, the human rights are something else, which is not correct. Human rights are always protected by the political fronts, by the constitutions, by the laws. Without implementing a secular, progressive, democratic constitution, the fundamental human rights and the concept of fundamental and basic human rights cannot be protected. We have a very learned advocate, Mr. Joseph. He would further graduate us on this subject. But at the end, I would also mention something that the United Kashmir People's National Party was established on 1985, April 1985. It was the era when there were slogans of jihad. Jihad fi sabilillah. We have to fight for God. And those jihadists, Jamaat-e-Islami, Lashkar-e-Tayyiba, Jaish-e-Muhammad, Harkat al-Mujahideen, Tehreek al-Mujahideen, Hizb al-Mujahideen, and many others under various names. Today all those groups are united and reorganized under Jammu Kashmir United Movement. And the Jammu Kashmir United Movement was incorporated and registered as a political party in 2021. Those who are recruiting young men, sending them to Chirag, it is a very special center where Special Services Group of Pakistani military training camp is based. So they are recruiting young boys 16 years, 14 years, 15 years, sometimes 18 years, and sending them for the commando training in Charat, and then sending them across the line of control. So, dear friends, colleagues, extremism, fundamentalism in any form and manifestation does not serve societies, does not serve human rights, because they believe in the killing of human beings, whereas people like us, the members of United Kashmir People's National Party, who are blessed and enjoying a lot of support from non-governmental organizations worldwide, are there to save and secure our people. So I am very much thankful for this opportunity to open this debate and this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jamil Mansoor, for your presentation. Now I would like to give floor to Ms. Shazia Sultana, International Forum for Secular Bangladesh, and you have the floor, ma'am.
I, on behalf of Bangladeshi diaspora, with due respect to address Honorable European President of UKPNP, Mr. Amjad Yusuf, Mr. Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, General Secretary Mr. Nasir Aziz Khan, all of distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. In this valuable conference, we should remember that the 1971 genocide in Bangladesh, which was pre-planned by the Pakistani military, is one of the worst mass atrocities witnessed after the Second World War. In 9 months, the occupation army killed approximately 3 million people. Between 200,000 to 400,000 women to sexually slavery, rape, and other forms of sexual violence, and forced 10 million people to cross the border and take refugee status in India, abandoning all their worldly possessions and ancestral homes. The United Nations helped from an international team of abortion specialists to deal with the fallout from the Pakistani rape camps. The Pakistani army used organized systematic rape as a weapon of war. Young girls and women were abducted and repeatedly gang raped in a special camp run by the Pakistani servicemen. The 1971 genocide by the Pakistan military and their allies is well documented and reported in the international media, diplomatic correspondence, and parliamentary reports during that period acknowledged with what was taking place the world media, including the Telegraph, the Times, the Sunday Times, the New York Times, AP, and other news agencies in this world. Reported the Bangladesh massacres all by Pakistani army. Some stories reached their front pages. The Sunday Times of London was the first to give the state it was a genocide in an article by Pakistani journalist Anthony Maskar Hans has told. For strictly truth to the world, the stories of the massacre of Bangladesh, the fateful night of 25 March of 1971. Therefore, we strongly demand that the 1971 genocide be recognized to give justice. We also call upon the United Nations General Assembly and other international entities to liberty, freedom of speech, peace and justice in all of victims in Jammu, Kashmir, Balochistan, Sindh and Kashmir. On behalf of Bangladeshi diaspora, we strongly support and solidarity to regulation get independence of occupied Jammu Kashmir. Thank you all for your attention and hearing to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shazia Sultana, for your presentation. And Bengali people, they were victim of Pakistani aggression, and our full support and solidarity with people of Bangladesh, and international community should recognize Bangladesh genocide as well. Now I would like to give floor to Dr. Nasir Tashti. He is the renowned historian, author, and sir, you have the floor. He has some other engagements and he has to leave. Mr. Tashti is the Executive President, Baloch Human Rights Council. Sir, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Marina sir. There are occasions when people, nations or individuals, they suffer by default. But the Kashmiri people are suffering today is also by default. It is not something which they have done. It is because in 19th century, there were two great powers which were fighting for hegemony in Central Asia. One was Tsarist Russia and the other was British Empire. At that time, India was the precious colonial possession of the British Empire, and the Britain could not tolerate any harm to its possessions in India. While the Tsarist Russia were coming south and territory border Afghanistan, the Britain became alarmed and they devised strategies to counter the Russians so that India could be safe. One of the tools of the British Empire was to use Islam to counter the infidel Russians. Although the British, they were also Christians, but they financed, created and supported many organizations in Central Asia for organizing jihads of various kinds to counter the Russian thrust to the south. And this situation which Kashmiris or other oppressed nations are facing in Pakistan is the continuation of that policy. Because after First World War, when occupation of India became untenable, Britain devised strategies to safeguard its interest in the region after their eventual withdrawal. At that time, there was no Tsarist Russia, but after the Bolshevik Revolution, Soviet Union was considered to be a major threat to the colonial interest of the West, which the Britain was the guardian at that time. So they created religious schools. They hired so-called intellectuals to propagate that Muslims are a nation. So if you propagate such a theory, it ultimately became violent or extremist, because the basis of this theory was fundamentalism or extremism, that the Muslim as a nation, they can't live with other nations in India. Although there were Christians, there were Buddhists, there were Jain, there were Sikhs, but they did not declare them nation because they wanted to use extremist Islam in order to create a client state of Pakistan. The sufferings of the Kashmiris began when they devised to delink India from Central Asia. At that time, Central Asia was at the occupation of Soviet Union. So they invested millions of pounds, intellectual resources, to create a generation of extremists and fundamentalists. So, and this fundamentalism and extremism was the basis of this Allah-given and British-created Pakistan. So, extremism and fundamentalism and Pakistan, they go together. If there is no extremism and fundamentalism, there will not be Pakistan. If there is Pakistan, there will be extremism and there will be fundamentalism. So that is the situation which not only Kashmiris, but the Baluch, the Pakhtuns and Sindhis are facing. Because for the last 40 years, they created a web of jihadist organization with oil money from petrodollar from Saudi and other Gulf countries, with actual patronage of the Western intelligence agencies. And now our people are facing the brunt of these jihadist and extremist organizations. I think it is the need of the hour, especially for our diaspora people, to devise strategies how to counter this menace. Although we are resourceless and we are divided, and this division is also created deliberately by the powerful people. So I think we should seriously begin to devise a strategy, because in the near future, this Allah-given and British-created client state is going to disintegrate. But what will happen to the people? Because the only organized force after the Pakistani army is the militant and jihadist organization in Pakistan. So, because there is no organized political party, there is no robust leadership on the ground. So, ultimately, this whole region will be taken over by the extremists and fundamentalists, just like they did in Afghanistan and Iran. So, I think we should discuss it and we should devise policies according to our resources, whether they are intellectual and other resources, in order to give a clear direction to our people back home that they should devise their own strategies to counter the extremism and terrorism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nasir Pesticide. This is the fact that each and every secular, whether he belongs in the Pashtun or Kashmir, they are the victim of Pakistani state policies. Now I move forward and I would like to give floor to Dr. Joseph Konsi Aya, Executive Director of Center for Human Rights and Peace Advocacy, NGO having special ECOSOC status with United Nations. My humble request to each and every speaker that around 7 we will move for dinner, and we have long list of speakers, and please conclude your presentation in 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear friend, Mr. Moderator. Sometimes it's very difficult to greet people, but VIPs like the one I see here. That notwithstanding, I can now recognize President of political parties here present, President of NGOs, many representatives of NGOs to the United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, again, it pleases me to be here. When I decided to collaborate in solidarity with the Jammu Kashmir people, each time they have either a side event or a conference like this one, attendance was not like it is today. This means that the conferences and the side events have been having their impact. For the recommendations that were made before was that let the Jammu Kashmir unite every part and every peoples fighting for the liberation of their various states, fighting for the protection and promotion of human rights. And so could we give ourselves a round of applause? Could we clap for ourselves? Can we clap for ourselves? It is not always an easy thing to join a people like this. And today we are talking about violent extremisms and its impact on the society. And we want to say that violent extremism is no doubt a fundamental violation of human rights. And we know that many states tolerate this kind of violence because they want to subdue, repress their political opponent. And they have used that very successfully. And by allowing it to happen, the states, the various states, which include Pakistan, they are promoting terrorism. And terrorism simply means creating fear in the people. And when that happens, we know the various aspects of human rights violations that are involved. We are today in a conference on the occasion of the 54th session of the Human Rights Council. course, whose principal mandate is to promote and protect human rights wherever it is violated. And this is in keeping with this Charter of the United Nations, which in its Article 55 enunciates all the things that the United Nations, of course, which United Nations constitute member states. Therefore, the member states of the United Nations. And so, it is important, therefore, that each time we are talking here, we should also look for ways of how to address this. We also know that once this happens, it diminishes, it reduces the rule of law. The rule of law in such a state has no place, because they have made some people to be above the law, which means that they violate the law with impunity. No society can stand, no society can develop when the rule of law is weak. When some people can commit crimes and go free. Now, when the rule of law is weak and no one has power, there's always a counter-reaction. And the counter-reaction is resistance. You kill, I kill. And this is what has been happening. And when you kill because you are legitimately protecting yourself, that can be backed by the law. Legitimate protection, legitimate defense. And such a state is a state of chaos, is a state of anarchy. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if we have seen this, we have seen that it leads to torture. Let us be reminded that torture has been outlawed. I was also addressing my mind to the Constitution of Pakistan, and it is clearly stating that torture has been outlawed. But why is this not practiced? And in the Convention Against Torture, Article 2 says there should be no justification as to the reason why somebody should be tortured. When you arrest, arbitrary arrests, and give a long detention of a person without trial, that constitutes torture. When you detain the person in an unknown places, in secret places, that constitute enforced disappearances. Either the person is alive and is not given the chance, is held incommunicado, or the person has been killed. And we also see that when that happens, when you see the mass killing, it also leads to mass graves, which is not something tolerated. So my recommendation would be, it is important that every member of this group should engage in a serious gathering of information, human rights violation, to be able to engage with the different treaty bodies of the United Nations so that this can be addressed. Let us never lose hope to say, because I hear some people say the United Nations is a toothless bulldog. The United Nations can never be a toothless bulldog when you properly engage with the different organs of the United Nations and different human rights mechanisms. It can never be a toothless bulldog. The second recommendation would be that as my able friends speak, sometimes I don't like to speak when intelligent people like him speak. They take away my inspiration. He made us to understand that in 1948, there was a United Nations Security Council resolution asking Pakistan to pack out. Therefore, it is important that we look for ways and means to get back to the United Nations to be able to interpret and implement this resolution. I think this is the key. A resolution by international standard is binding, is a legally binding instrument, which means that that must be interpreted. It's different from just a declaration. It is a binding instrument. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if violent extremism has an impact on society and the state concerned is unable to investigate and prosecute perpetrators, it therefore means that the state has made the law a rule. And if the state has made impunity and injustices the rule, then we must do one thing. And that thing is, we need to resist. So resistance will become our duty. And we shall resist from block to block, from rooftop to rooftop, from door to door. I thank you.
Thank you very much. As always, very informative, very researched presentation. Thank you very much. We will try our best to take your recommendation in consideration. You will guide us and we will move forward together. Now I would like to give floor to Dr. Bhutto Sahib. He is the organizer of Sindhi Congress, United Kingdom and Europe. You have the floor, sir, please.
Thank you, Nasser, and I thank UKPNP and congratulate them to organize such a successful event. On behalf of Sindhis, we always been supporting your genius cause, and like Kashmiris, we Sindhis are also suffering from this extremism and violence. As Nasir Dashti was saying, that Pakistan and extremism, they are running together. There is no Pakistan without extremism, and there is no extremism without Pakistan. Our societies, Sufi fabric of our societies remained, and we learned from thousands of years of our history that we are secular, we have got humanitarian values where all the religions live together with peace and harmony since thousands of years of our history. So in Sindh, we suffer once this invasion of Pakistan happened, our society has started to disintegrate, and there is a constant violence against our Sindhi Hindus, and forced conversions of our Sindhi Hindu girls are happening every day. It is very well known. United Nations has recognized, State Department of US has recognized, HRCP, which is Human Rights Council of Commission of Pakistan, says around 1,000 girls every year are being converted, and in Sindh we have got a different report every month, almost 20 girls, and most of these are minor girls. They kidnapped with impunity. So as Joseph was saying, that they violate law with impunity, and this is happening with impunity. And in recent, there is a phenomena of abductions. Pakistani state has sponsored dacoits in Sindh, and there is a requires attacks on and kidnap for ransom of Sindhi Hindus. This is another act of converting us into minority because they think that our language, our culture, our history, our poetry is against their fundamentalist ideology and extremist ideology. So they try to disintegrate our societies, they try to attack our language, they try to attack our poetry, our history, our whole society is under the attack of this phenomena of extremism. And I think right to self-determination is the way forward to ask the United Nations to recognize our nations and we get our right to self-determination and we overcome these things and we can promote our culture, our society to become and regain our own fabric of our Sufi societies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hidayat Bhutto Sahib. This is tragedy that in Pakistan there is no rule of law and constitution discriminates religious minorities and they are not considered equal citizens. And forced conversion, attacks on religious minorities taking place every day. Now I would like to give floor to Fazal Rahman Afridi Sahib. He is the leader of Pashtun Tafiz movement and president Khyber Institute for Research and Strategic Studies. You have the floor, sir, please.
Thank you very much, Nasir Aziz. It has always been a pleasure to be at the conferences organized by UKPNP under the leadership of Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, and being a part of it is really an honor, and I really appreciate your commitment and great work, not only for the Kashmiri people, but all the oppressed nations in Pakistan, particularly at the United Nations Human Rights Council. The topic is discussed in details by other panelists, especially Dr. Joseph Chongsi. His really all-encompassing and a great speech on the issue of human rights and the resultant, if these are violated, how they turn into extremism and violence. But I would like to discuss one of the most important tools used by the state of Pakistan to fuel extremism and violence. We are really concerned about the systematic use of torture by Pakistan, particularly on Pashtun human rights defenders, journalists, and particularly PTM. On May 31st, 2023, PTM activists Eidur Rahman Wazir, Zakim Wazir, Zuhaib Pashtun, and later Gilman Wazir were abducted by Pakistan Army. During detention, they were tortured physically and were forced to record statements against PTM to malign the image of this peaceful, non-violent movement advocating the rights of Pashtuns. Ali Wazir, ex-MNA and a well-known human rights defender, is subject to extreme torture in custody. He is investigated by military secret services and not allowed to sleep the whole night with his two arms up in the air. Military Secret Services allegedly told him that if we kill you, nobody will come to your rescue and no one can make them accountable. The investigators abuse him daily by calling names and cursing. He is pressured not to oppose the deal between Pakistan and TTP to be resettled in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to rule the area under Sharia laws. Earlier in May 22, in Shaktoi area of Waziristan, Pakistani military abducted 27 persons to a nearby military camp and tortured them collectively. Even United Nations special procedures, they have sent a communication to the state of Pakistan, but the state of Pakistan has never replied. All this torture by the state of Pakistan is executed and planned by a notorious torture specialist these days, DG External Wing of ISI, General Faisal Nasir. Pakistan, a signatory to the UN Convention Against Torture, should be urged to cooperate with the United Nations treaty bodies and mechanism to stop this impunity. I would like to turn your attention to another problem in our areas, the landmines planted by Pakistan Army and ex-FATA. They continue to kill our women, children and animals. In the year 2022, we have reports of 25 victims of landmines in South and North Waziristan only. In this regard also, we urged an urgent UN action. Another important issue in our area regarding the Pashtun ethnic minority, we are also concerned about the grave human rights violations of the Afghan refugees, including harassment, inhuman, degrading treatment, arbitrary detention, and torture. Keeping in view the deteriorating humanitarian and security situation in Afghanistan, we urge UN to halt the deportation of Afghan nationals from Pakistan to Afghanistan, where they will be in grave danger of being humiliated, tortured, and killed. Article 3 of the Convention Against Torture and other cruel and inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment clearly states that no person should be extradited to a country where he can be subjected to abuse and torture. So all these things, we make them together. It forced the people, the torture, the cruel and inhuman treatment of the people, they forced them to violence. So that is the state policy of the state of Pakistan, to increase terrorism, increase extremism and violence in the societies, so that they can use these people as a gun fodder in other wars which are being fought in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fazal Rahman Afridi side. This is a tragedy that state of Pakistan and the extremist groups, they are targeting PTM, a progressive secular movement of Pashtuns for their rights, and they are acting, state secret agencies are acting like state, above the state, as Nawaz Sharif, thrice elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, once said, and radical groups, they are also acting with impunity. Now I would like to give floor to Madam Mashalin Joma. She is the President of UKPROS International NGO with special ECOSOC status with United Nations. Madam, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Nazim. Merci beaucoup. I'm sorry I have to speak. Bonsoir, messieurs, mesdames. Bonsoir à vous. Je ne voudrais même pas intervenir. Je ne suis pas venue ici pour être comme intervenant. Et c'est comme ça chaque année, on me prend le cours et je dois parler quelque chose, je dois dire quelque chose. Ça dure cette histoire. Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier ce vaillant homme, azadkashmir, et toute son équipe. Tout le groupe, je connais tout le groupe. Vous êtes des vaillants soldats. Parce que depuis plusieurs années, plus de 10 ans, vous menez ce combat sans arrêt. Mais je vous ai toujours dit, la seule solution fiable pour conquérir votre territoire,
Thanks very much, Dr. Aziz. We are against extremism and violence. We want peace in Jammu, Kashmir, and the region of South Asia. Sadly, powerful forces that want to promote extremism, terrorism, and religious hatred are determined to ensure that there is no peace in the region, because violence and religious hatred are good for their politics and businesses. We in Jammu Kashmir become a victim of extremism and religious hatred on 22nd of October 1947, when Pakistan, despite a standstill agreement, attacked us. Muslim and non-Muslim of Jammu Kashmir were butchered. It is sad that since that day, which has been a black day in our history, we have been forcibly divided and the suffering on both sides of the divide. No one is ready to listen to the voice of the peace. I belong to Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir, and we are systematically deprived of our fundamental rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jammu Kashmir side. This is unfortunate that since 1947 we were the first victim of Pakistani state aggression, extremism, terrorism, and still we are suffering and we are forcibly divided, and we shall continue our struggle for the unification and independence of our motherland. Now I would like to give floor to Mr. Sajid Hussain, Secretary Information, United Kashmir People's National Party, Europe Zone. You have the floor, please.
Respected friends and comrades, I would like to draw your attention towards the utmost significance of this topic, extremism and violence and its impact on our societies. Respected friends and comrades, when we read the Indian Independence Act, where the India has got independence and Pakistan has created. Now I would like to highlight what are the root causes of this extremism and violence and its impact on societies. When we analyze when British India divided on the basis of religion, in my today's presentation, this was the root cause of the present terrorism and extremism and violence that impact our societies. Because when we analyze the forefather of India and Pakistan and what were their ideologies and what were their principles to create a state, then we analyze the principle of Mahatma Gandhi. The fundamental principle of Mahatma Gandhi is non-violence. And that non-violence principle is not only impact the societies of subcontinent or South Asia, but that principle is also have a great impact all over the world. When we came to United Nations, and there was only one statue in United Nations Human Rights Council building, and that statue is the Mahatma Gandhi statue. And that has created a great impact all over the world. And when we talk about violence, it does not mean that not to indulge yourself or ourselves into a physical violence, but to remove all jealousies, hatred, and desire to harm others. This was the principle of non-violence. On the other hand, what was the principle of Muhammad Ali Jinnah? They have used religion to establish a state. He have used religion to establish a state like Pakistan. And what later happened? The religion is dominating in Pakistan. Normally, they use religion as a weapon to against their enemies, but later on the religion using as a foreign policy tool. So on the basis of the religion, that was the principle of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they have created a mess in subcontinent. They have patronized the terrorist and extremist organization in our region with different names, like Lashkar-e-Taiba, like Jaish-e-Mohammed, like Hizbul Mujahideen. And Pakistan has patronized under the guise of army and its agencies. These all sort of organizations have been strongly supported and funded and patronized by the Pakistan. That's why our societies are suffering and our youth has been marginalized. So this is one principle of non-violence, where everyone can reach to the truth. But on the other hand, the religious dominancy and the creation of Pakistan on the basis of two-nation theory is the root cause of this extremism, violence, and that's why it's a great impact in our societies. Today we are suffering. And Pakistan is always on the denial mode. For example, I'm going to give you an example. They have brought international terrorists in Pakistan, like Osama bin Laden. Whenever someone asked, and journalists asked, and international community asked question about the terrorism and extremism in Pakistan, and they are always in denial mode. And Osama bin Laden is not in Pakistan. But when American submarine attacked on Abbottabad and killed
Osama bin Laden, then they have exposed Pakistan in the whole world. The Pakistan is a safe haven for the extremism and terrorist organization. So I'm going to conclude that the principle of our party is striving for the non-violence, rule of law, democracy, and unification of whole Jammu and Kashmir. So my last word is, we urge the world community to help us for the unification of whole Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sajid Hussain. Now I would like to give floor to Ali Muhammad Qasser, human rights activist from Syria. He is himself the victim of extremism and terrorism, and now you have the floor, sir.
And yes, I am a victim of terrorism, unfortunately, and it's not an easy task of being a victim of terrorism for quite some time now. And I would like to say to the committee here that Kashmir has been a victim for quite some time, a very long time. And what we see here is a lot of political interference in this region. And Pakistan has a very financed and well-off advancing the activities in Kashmir, using the Kashmiri land, the Kashmiri people. But what's most important is that the Pakistani military is well aware of its influence on the region and using international terrorism, using international political pressures, organization outside of Pakistan to train also and enhance and aid terrorism. And this is something that the international community has been putting a blind eye on. But while in fact the people of these, well, being victimized of these activities, especially for political agendas, and the cover-up that we see when we bring a Q&A to the table where the victims are seeking answers is not answered. You see a giant of floods of lawyers and activists in the wrong terms misrepresenting the situation on the ground without realizing what's really happening on the ground. These scenarios is actually occurring, and this is quite sometimes it's a reoccurring. And there's no accountability in these areas. And what we'd like to see that the Kashmiri people and the Pakistani government be held responsible for its aiding terrorism, especially from 1999 we have some programs which is released by the book of Sally Neighbours, which is an Australian journalist by the Four Corners. She clearly identifies that Pakistan has aided child soldiers to go fight or to go enhance the activism against the Kashmiri people in this region, which using the aid of its facilities in Kashmir. And what we want to say is that enough is enough. The international community is turning a blind eye on these issues, and Pakistan should be held responsible for its activities. And it should be, in my opinion, like I said to a few colleagues of mine, a complaint to the ICC for war crimes should be established here. I'm sorry, this is my strong belief and opinion, because I believe that there's a lot happening, and the victims that we have statements of and research about haven't been given a platform to administrate how they feel and to administrate what really happened and how did they end up in such a land that they don't belong to. And obviously, when I personally spoke to some of these victims, which are not Pakistani or Kashmiri, and seeing they ended up in a political fight, if you want to say, under the Al-Qaeda branch or under the Pakistani intelligence at 1999. It was run by the Pakistani military and intelligence, if we understand. And it's well informed that these people have no respect for human rights. They've always aided terrorism in the region. They've trained international terrorism, which led to be later on in Syria today, as we could see. And the game just keeps going and going and going. But Kashmir has paid the price for quite some time, and the price should be now recognized by the international community to put a stop to Pakistan. And these are programs, they are so-called, it's a training facility for the youth. Well, in fact, there's not a training facilities for youth. The international community has enough evidence to say that these facilities are well established in training terrorism, which is aiding other conflicts around the world. And this is my true belief and opinion based on strong research by journalists and academic personnel and my personal research. Thank you for giving me the floor, I appreciate it.
Ali Muhammad Qasir, he himself is a victim of terrorism, and you know their mechanism, what they have been doing and what they are doing. And our heart and good thoughts and good wishes are always with you for your speedy recovery. Now I would like to give floor to Mr. Munir Megar. He is the president of Baloch Vice Association, a activist from Balochistan. You have the floor, sir.
Where we get an opportunity to present our cries, to present the situation of different, you can say, nations. So this is again an opportunity for me, and it is an honor for me to stand with you people. From last many years, I have been, analyzing the UKPNP, particularly the point of view which they brought, and I heard, and then I kept on analyzing on this party. This party is not doing the things over here, but UKPNP is also organizing same sort of events, even in Pakistan, where their representatives, they are also, they echo the same words which we hear over here in these events over here at UN. So it means that whatever point of view particularly this party has with respect to the violence, with respect to the jihad, with respect to the pseudo jihad, how their people are being killed by a state, and how the state apparatus is working over there to dominate that region, to loot the resources and to keep the people deprived from their life, deprived from their liberty, deprived from their identity, from their culture. And this is a big credit to Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri for giving us this view. And this is not only we hear it over here, even the people from Balochistan and from very far, you can say, regions, Panjgur, Haran, Makran, now they have education that what is the issue of Kashmir and how the Pakistan is treating that issue. Believe me, when I was, in 2010 and 11, when I was new over here, at that time when I heard about this Kashmir issue, at that time, whatever our communication was with our people back at home, and what is our communication today with our people back at home about the Kashmir issue, that has totally changed. And that is a big credit to this party that they have equaled this thing, and this is what we have here. While I was a student, and this is what this is being done over there on daily basis, the people over there, they get information about Kashmir, that there is a jihad, and the Kashmir, the Indian, they have occupied that part, and UNO has, asked India to keep away. And this is the narrative of the Pakistani state, which they are communicating to everybody from, you can say, 5th class, 6th class. And the other words which we hear, those are from the mosques, from the mullahs, that there's a jihad in Kashmir. And even I have, seen these things, that they communicate these things so, in such an impressive way that even the women, they become, motivated, and they give their jewelries for this sort of jihad fund, because they presented this is a real jihad by the people, and there's a kafir, and that kafir is killing the people over there. And this is one of my, my personal experience. I was studying in Cadet College Mustung, and there was a machine gun at the center of the grass. So when they installed it, and after that, we were just students, youngsters, we went there, and unfortunately something happened from my side, and that dropped. And next day, the adjutant, who used to be a captain of Pakistan Army, he called all the students of the college, and then he inquired who had done this thing. And when I stepped forward, you cannot believe me, that what was his speech, what was his words, and how they penetrate the things to the students. His words were like this: these machine gun, these arms, and these, they said banduk, the jawans, the army jawans which they carry, they use them against Hindus. They use them against the Hindu woman web, because that woman should not give birth to another Hindu. And we have to respect this thing in such a way, like something very precious religiously, something very precious to our lives, because this machine gun has bombarded the Hindus, and particularly bombarded on the Hindu women. And this is how they presented us the jihad of Kashmir. But what we learned from these people, that what is the reality behind that? They have an identity, they have a culture, they have a history. Their flag, I have seen in my life first time the original, you can say, asked the other states, particularly the Muslim countries. From them, that state has gotten a lot of aid with respect to Kashmir. And from the West, they have got a lot of aid. From the Western countries, they have received a lot of arms and ammunition. Now it's a moral obligation on them that they should make accountable that state, that how that state used those funds, those arms to eliminate a nation. The way the Kashmiris, they are, living there, it's obvious to everyone that Pakistan wants to eliminate the identity of the Kashmiri. Pakistan does not need the people of Kashmir, they only need the land and resources of the Kashmir. And we in Balochistan are also facing the same thing, that the state only needs the land, not the people. The cries, the words which I have heard, through social media over there, that the people, they are saying this thing, that land is ours, resources are ours, but domination is yours, and you are ruling this state through a land officer. And it's a big shame to the humanity and to the human rights, you can say, bodies who have a mandate, to the UN and to the international community, that even today a state is ruling another state through a land officer. Thank you, sir, for your time, and I'm highly thankful.
Munir Mehta sahib, actually we have commitment at restaurant, we will move later to there. And now the European Foundation for South Asian Studies, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Sab, I have the difficult task to wind up very quickly because we have a commitment at the restaurant. First of all, I would like to thank UKPNP and all other friends who are present here. Shaukat Sab. Just quickly on the impact of violence and extremism on societies. You people must have heard about it. I am reminded of the great Greek tragedian Aeschylus, who said in 500 BC, in war, the first casualty is truth. And I think that, with all due respect, violence and extremism have, of course, very tangible effects on societies, which is, for example, blowing up a building, killing someone, injuring someone. But the bigger repercussions of violence and extremism in a society are the intangible effects, which is indeed the first casualty in war is truth. And that's where people start believing this myth that violence and extremism will actually get them somewhere, will be beneficial for them, whether it's in this world or that world. There are children and I don't blame them, they are indoctrinated because of a system, because of a design, because of a narrative. There are children of 15 years old who think they are fighting in the path of God, and if they die, they will go to paradise. There are mothers who shower flower petals on the dead bodies of their sons, 16, 17, 18 years, because they also believe that these children died for a higher cause and will go to heaven, which will also pave the way for the parents to go heaven. That is the biggest effect of society, of violence and extremism, because these effects perpetuate into eternity. It's not just blowing up a building, however, however bad that is, it's one act which will be done and the building is gone and you can build a new building. Building societies, changing narratives. How do you stop someone who believes that by killing non-Muslims, he will go to heaven? How do you stop someone like that? That fight, when you're going to start that fight, when he is prepared to kill himself, you are already too late. This is an ideological fight. This is a fight which needs to be started at grassroots level. We in Kashmir, when violence was perpetuated on us, there were people in the Indian administered Kashmir who had set their clocks half an hour back because they thought that they will become part of Pakistan. While this proxy war was sold to us as a fight for independence. And slowly, we started believing the myth that our independence is becoming slaves of Pakistan. Then slowly, we started believing that, no, our independence is becoming an Islamic caliphate. Our independence is pan-Islamism. Our independence is that all these Muslim nations should join together and become one Muslim. That is our independence. Well, this was the issue of Kashmir, or, to be precisely correct, the issue of Jammu and Kashmir has absolutely nothing to do with religion. The issue of Jammu and Kashmir is a nationalist issue. It is a historical issue. It is an issue of grievances of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which include different religions. And let me end with, because we have to be quick, let me then again end with what I started with, which was the Greek tragedian Aeschylus, who said that in war the first casualty is truth, he also said the only remedy to violence is the knowledge of truth. So that puts you in like he was a tragedian, so it puts you in a kind of a tragedy dilemma, which is that casualty is truth, but the only way to win from violence is also the knowledge of truth. And I think we people who keep on getting together, it's a woodpecker story. I also sometimes get disillusioned by the fact that, okay, I've come to the UN and I've said something, and does it really matter? But I think it does. I think that what we are doing is seeking knowledge of the truth and trying to give that to the coming generations. I hope, and I think maybe I won't be able to see that, but I hope that I can stand in Lahore and say that this terrorism is wrong. We are not part of Pakistan. We don't want terrorism. But in the unfortunate circumstances that this will not happen in my lifetime, I think we all are trying to build an environment where my son will be able to say it. And if not he, then his son. But these are all contributions and steps, and I think we should be maybe not proud, but we should be steadfast, because we are seeking and trying to diverge the knowledge of truth, which is the only way to overcome extremism and violence. Thank you.
Very much. State of Jammu and Kashmir is a multi-religious, multicultural state, and diversity is the beauty of this world. And Kashmir is, in that sense, also very beautiful that we have a diversity, and we believe in peace, harmony, and Sufism. Thank you very much, Junaid Qureshi Sahib. I will give now request Mr. Jamil Maksud to present resolutions, because there is a movement in Pakistani occupied Kashmir. People are on the streets and protesting for their rights against inflation, extremism, unemployment, and terrorism. Jamil Maksud Sahib will present the resolution, and I will move to our last speaker, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri Sahib, and then we will open floor for question answer session, and hopefully we will conclude in few minutes, and then we move for dinner. You are the floor.
Thank you once again. I'm here to present today's resolution. The title, Resolution on behalf of United Kashmir People's National Party, partner organizations, fellow sister organizations in struggle for right of self-determination, political, social, economic, and cultural rights, including right to development. Recalling the principle and objectives of the United Nations, particularly the principles of self-determination, human rights, and fundamental freedoms. Recognizing the aspirations of the people of Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan for their rights and the full enjoyment of their human rights, including right to development, and demand for subsidized food and other essentials and uninterrupted electricity supply. Emphasizing the importance of peaceful and just resolution to the issue in Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, as we have previously elaborated that both the peripheries are administered by Pakistan temporarily. Gilgit-Baltistan, through dialogue and diplomacy and use of force, would further escalate tensions in the region. Taking note of the ongoing people's rights movement in Pakistan-administered Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, which reflect the desires and concerns of the local populations. Acknowledging the duty of the international community to address and support legitimate call for the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms in both the peripheries under the temporary administrative control of Pakistan. During this 54th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, hereby resolved as follows. We urge Pakistan to engage in meaningful dialogue with the representatives of both the peripheries and Gilgit-Baltistan to address the concern and aspirations of the people with a view to finding peaceful and just solution to the outstanding issues. Encourage Pakistan to respect and protect the human rights and fundamental freedoms of the people in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan in line with international human rights standards. Call upon the relevant parties to exercise restraints, avoid violence and prioritize peaceful means in resolving any disputes or conflicts related to Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Invites the United Nations Secretary General to appoint a special envoy to facilitate dialogue and cooperation among the concerned parties with the goal of promoting stability and human rights in the region and particularly in Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Request the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights OHCHR to closely monitor the human rights situation in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan and to provide regular updates to the Human Rights Council. We call upon the international community to provide support and assistance necessary to promote human rights, development and stability in both the regions under the temporary administration of Pakistan. Affirms its commitment to continuing to address the situation in both the administrative regions in accordance with the principles and objectives of the United Nations. This resolution is passed during a parallel event, 54th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, with the aim of promoting peace, stability and protection of human rights in Pakistan administered Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So, would you approve this resolution, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Now I would like to give floor to Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. He is the chairman of United Kashmir People's National Party. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. President, Sardar Amjad Yusuf, President, United Kashmir People's National Party, UK Zone, thank you all of you for your contribution and for your presence and participation. Due to the time constraint, I will try my best not to repeat anything which already our learned friend have said. But few of things is very, very necessary. First of all, United Kashmir People's National Party is a progressive political party which believes equality, democracy and freedom. Equality means that irrespective of gender, color, creed, religion or area, we believe all human beings are equal, whether they are Hindus, whether they are Buddhists, whether they are Christians, whether they are Muslims. The other thing which is very important for us, that in our areas where there is one majority of one religion, what is the conditions or human rights situation of the religious minorities? Everybody knew through the press, through the international media,
religious minorities in the Muslim majority areas have no say. They are discriminated and they have not enjoyed the equal rights. They are living under harassments, and it is all published in the Pakistani and other newspapers. The other thing, today, international conference title, Extremism. What is the extremism? When a person is not ready to debate or discussions and believing that he is superior, his faith is superior, and he always forcing his point of view, and if anybody would try to engage him or try to debate him on the religious lines, he immediately issues the fatwa against those who have the ideals of secularism, pluralism, equality, or gender equality, because he believed, he taught by his masters that woman has no equal rights according to the Holy Book. It's very sad. In 21st century, we are facing such kind of a people who are thinking that they are the superior by their teachings, and they are not accepting others that they are also a human being, and their needs, basic needs, are same, whether they are Christian, whether they are Muslims, whether they are Kashmiri or Pakistani or Punjabi or Sindhi or Baloch or Pashtun. And the violence, why violence happen in our societies? It is not indigenous. It is not just by one religion. But there are some states who have special designs to use religion. And it is not after the creation of Pakistan, but before, the colonial power also used religions against the rights movement. So it is an old story, but after that, when British India was divided on the basis of religion, so the Pakistan used religions. And in Pakistan, it is not a secret, it is open secret. And every sane person who read daily newspapers knew that. That is the Pakistan who used religion. And the Christians, the Hindus, the other religious minorities are facing worst kind of persecutions. It published in all the Pakistani newspapers in Urdu. But all those rights movement is disappeared in the newspapers. Why? When last 3 months the people are protesting for their rights, for their basic rights, electricity, clean drinking water, floors, use of daily life things. But Pakistani newspaper, you cannot read a single story about the miseries of the Kashmiri peoples or the people of Gilgit-Baltistan. Always they are trying to promote and projecting the communalism. And especially where there is the competitors, Sunnis and Shias, they are always going the seeds of communalism. Of course, we are the victim of violence, we are the victim of terrorism, and our motherland was forcibly divided. Although we have a peace agreement with Pakistan, our legitimate rulers signed a treaty that is called the Standstill Agreement. But after 15 days, Pakistan violating that treaty and through private militia entered the army. And thousands of people were displaced and many women were raped and killings. It is a sad story. But unfortunately, the Pakistani propaganda machinery is so vast and they used all the resources for the propaganda. That's why now above 60% people of Pakistan living below the poverty line. Last 76 years, the democracy in real shape is not take the roots in Pakistan. But all the religious motivated groups which is funded and supported by the military journals, they always use against them the democratic movements, right movements, nationalist movements, and secular movements. And it is known to all, due to these policies, FATF take cognizance against Pakistan, and if Pakistan was in the list of FATF, in a grey list, that it is the Pakistan who funded and supported terrorism, involved in money laundering and harboring and exporting terrorism. But unfortunately, there is a cold war. And rightly said, Junaid Qureshi, during this whole story, always truth is suffering, and everybody except the influence. How is sad story that when the European Parliament debate on the Kashmir issue, what the Kashmiri people under different administration facing the problems, and it was Pakistan, and that report is called the Amani-Nicholson report, compiled by a rapporteur was the Foreign Committee Vice President. But all the Pakistani media, because when the Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan was included in that report, they were propagating, oh, this report is whole, they alleged whole European Parliament that they are promoting and projecting the Indian agenda, because why European Union is discussing about POK, Gilgit-Baltistan and whole state of Jammu. I have not listened a single voice from the Indian side, but every Pakistani origin, whether he is elected councillor or a member of parliament, one of the member of parliament, he is originally from Pakistan, he was crying on the parliament floor that why you are discussing about the POK. Why you are discussing about the Gilgit-Baltistan? And one time the government of Pakistan issued a letter to the European parliamentarians that Gilgit-Baltistan have nothing to do with the state of Jammu Kashmir. And me, Jamil Maqsood and some of our other UKPNP comrades will provide all historical documents to the European parliamentarians. And they were surprised that a government, a country is telling lies against the facts. And although even in Pakistan, we also present the Pakistani constitution, where the Pakistani territory was defined by the Pakistani constitution, and we were excluded because it is the Pakistan international fora, it is the Pakistan's official state that the whole state of Jammu Kashmir is a disputed territory. But Pakistan signed a commercial project that is called CPEC with the China. And before, China was also claiming that, oh, we are with the Kashmiri peoples. We were in the favor of the right to self-determination of the Kashmiri people. And one time they issued a notice that we will not issue visa on the passport, which is not the Kashmiri. But it applied only other part of Kashmir. And when she has the commercial interest, they bulldoze all the norms, all the policies, and start one belt, one road from a disputed territory, and even local people were forced to displace, to leave their own ancestral areas. And the extremism, why extremism is growing? It is not the indigenous, it is not due to the Islamic faith, but when the government financed and established the religious madrasas and sent a text which is promoting pan-Islamicism, then the groups, the mushrooms of the terrorism is growing there. And in other areas, I was briefed European leaders and other people, the NGO, the United Nations, you people, many people witnessed that overland is used as launching pad for the terrorist activities on the other part. And what happened other parts? All the progressive political workers were on their target, and Pakistani mullahs issued the fatwa against the democratic leaders, Kashmiri democratic leaders, for their head money, awarded head money. Unfortunately, India is failed to protect the life, liberty and property of the Kashmiris. And one thing more I would like to clear, that some people are promoting that India and Pakistan are on the same page. They are the occupiers. No, India and Pakistan is not on the same page. Pakistan is illegal occupier, because he violated the peace agreement with our rulers. And when a lot of religiously motivated groups, private militia and regular army troops enter in Kashmir and killing irrespective of the fate. First person who was killed by the private militia was a Muslim, one social activist, Mir Abdulaziz. And then many women were raped and murdered and forced them to leave this area. At that time, we have a small number of the army. And that army was unable to protect the life, liberty and the property of the peoples. At that time, when our rulers was asked India to help us for the sake of our peoples, to protect them, because we are unable to protect them, their lives. Through Treaty of Accessions, India came as savior. We have many reservations against the Indian administrator attitude. But India is not an occupier. India came through a treaty, whereas we have no any kind of treaty with Pakistan. Pakistan is simply illegal occupier on pojk and Baltistan. And for his occupations, they always trying to motivate people religiously. Oh, Pakistan is a support of Islam. What kind of a food? Where the people of Pakistan have no clean drinking water, no electricity, no job. Everybody is looking for job and ultimately the society. So world community, a politicians who is not dare to say one thing about the victims, did not show the solidarity with the victims and not ready to expose such kind of a governments who are anti-people. We are unfortunately living this kind of environment where they are the politicians, European politicians, sometimes looking the government propaganda. If we say something about the victims, if we say something for the religious minorities, victimizations, maybe the government of Pakistan will not accept these, or maybe they target it. So that's why today, why in Europe, right-winger party is growing. Because their society, many women, many men, religiously motivated, supported by different Muslim countries, they are involved in violence. They are not ready to assimilate in the Europe. They seek asylum in Europe, but they are not ready to accept the norms of the Europe, and they are not sponsoring democracy in their own regions. Here they are member of the Labour Party, but back home they are big supporter of the Jamaat Islami. This is the story, and we are witness on it. And I many times brief the Labour Party leaders that at least when you give them the ticket of Labour Party, graduate them, teach them that what is the noble cause of the Labour Party. Because all these I know, they are back home promoting sectarianism. They have wanted lordship. That lords always collecting money for the seminaries. Or thanks Labour Party that now he is no more lord. And same is the case with in different part of the Europe, because they did not realize what these forces affect on their societies. They are always teaching their children, oh, they are living here. Their children are going in the schools, but when the kid came back in the home, their parents, religiously motivated, always teaching them against the Europe. So we should look all these things, because extremism, we are facing extremism, but they will come very soon, that everybody is facing this kind of monster in Europe, in United States, in Canada, everywhere. Those states are not serious to combat the terrorism, extremism, and those people who actually are not against the religious practice, but those people who have political motives and funded and supported by the state. I know many people from in Belgium. They are very closely linked with the embassies, Pakistan embassy, and those people are just voluntarily disrupt the Bloch functions, any conference which held on the human rights issue. They enter in the room and raising the slogans. One time we were the Meneer Bloch. he organized a conference in Paris, and the Belgian nationals, Pakistanis, entered in the hall, and they did not know that we are also here. They think that some blows are there, and we can bulldoze them. And thanks Fazal Afridi and other our comrades, we asked them, go back. This is not Lahore, this is not Rawalpindi, and we combat them. Many our rallies, it is the story in about every our functions, our rallies, our seminars. When I was in Kashmir, they attacked on our rallies. But when we defeat them, then the government of Pakistan and the police and the intelligence agencies, they kidnapped me and my many colleagues. And I was in 9.5 months in the solitary confinement, not only one time. And when I was released with this threat, that if you again say anything about human rights, about secularism, about democracy, we will now not kidnap you or arrest you, but we will kill you and your family. And that time, some of the European friends asked me that it is better if you want to serve your people's cause, the link is clear. Every inch and corners, we have the training camps. And Mr. Jamil Maqsood rightly said, and it is true, that one of the organizations who hold a press conference in the Bagh district headquarters, there are over 22 children were kidnapped by one prescribed organizations. And when we are asking them to bring our children back, they threaten, keep quiet, if you make noise, not we will kill you and your family. Then he encouraged to hold conference, press conference. It is published in all social media, but not in Pakistani newspapers. And then, still those kids, which were below 17 years, are in their custodies and not bring back. So if people is not courage to say Pakistan, change these policies. We are not against any sovereign state, but we are always asking respect the people's rights and respect the historical nations and their culture, their language. But unfortunately, 14,000 people are just from one area which is known as Balochistan is missing, enforced disappear. In Sindh, all the Hindus living in a threat. Every day we are listening that one Hindu girl, young girl, no men, no Hindu men or old men, just a minor girl, they kidnapped them and forcibly converted. And one of the persons, oh yes, no, he is my wife. And court, Pakistani courts, they are, in the name of court, is totally mockery. And everybody knows that they are just, the judges of the apex court is just appeasing the intelligence agencies. That's why 3-time elected Prime Minister is forced to live in exile. The next Prime Minister, just when he ousted from the PM post, now he is facing persecution in a prison. And lot of women and men and political workers are in prisons. The world community, what they are looking, and how United Nations, one of the delegation of the government of Pakistan, they came to me and asked, oh, this UN, it's a toothless forum. Why you are wasting your time? I I was asking, okay, I will think, but why you are wasting your time and spend huge money, a full-fledged consulate? If you think that you are smart, I think United Nations Human Rights Council is for us. Although at this stage, the state dominating, state dictating the agenda, but one day they will come very soon that every state respect the human rights charters. We hope it. And they will come very soon that Kashmir is not divided anymore. Or we believe the division of Kashmir is no solution. United Kashmir is the only way forward. And respect for this wish, no single Kashmiri is accepting the division. So that we are against any formula which is come from any quarters. No, we are against the division of our motherland. And also, United Kashmir People's National Party against extremism, terrorism, and violence in any shape, for anyone, against anyone. So that I appeal, I urge to the world community and especially the European leaders that they will help and cooperate the oppressed nations and especially ask Pakistan to respect our democratic institutions and our history and our motherland should be behaved according to the United Nations resolutions. Because 1948, 13th of August, and you can check, I am not anything say which is not supported by the documents. The United Nations passed a resolution on 13th August 1948. That resolution asked Pakistan to withdraw its all troops and those people who entered Kashmir for the purpose of fighting should be withdrawn. And the truce agreement, which is also signed by the member states, and Pakistan also agreed, that is called the truce agreement. I request all of you to read that truce agreement and then you can imagine the role of Pakistan. That role is only exploiting our natural resources, occupied our tourist resorts, and also recent 3 months, huge land, forest land was allotted to the military. And all those tourist areas, which for the public, now slowly, Pakistan fencing those areas and asking these areas are prohibited, which was used before as the tourism. And also there are many projects, electricity projects, all projects, and even the so-called Prime Minister is asking them that you are not fulfilling your commitment. That's why last 3 months people are on road. They are protesting, and now today's report in different areas they circulated by the commandos and all the Upper part captured by the army and asking them disperse, otherwise we will shoot you. So this is very alarming situation for us, and I think every human rights activist and United Nations Human Rights Council should take note and put pressure on Pakistan to repeal all draconian laws and also change its mind and recognize the people's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before giving floor to President to conclude this meeting, I open this floor. If anybody has short comment or question, please raise your hand and ask your question. Otherwise, I will give floor to Mr. President to conclude this meeting. We are already running late, very late. If anybody has question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I give floor to President. Yeah, Mr. Ali.
I just want to say, I have been shot, I have been stabbed, I fought for my life twice in hospital, being a victim, speaking about against terrorism. And when it comes to the accountability, implying what I have spoken about, we always have a back wall, like there's a political pressure that how can a victim like me, I fought for my life for 2 weeks in intensive care after being stabbed twice in the back. The profile was very strong. It was because of my strong argument about testifying against terrorism, speaking about fundamental clerks which are funded by a government organisation. And this where it stops. When you involve that terrorism is backed by a government or a political, driven by a political party, the investigation stops. The ears gets blocked. They don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to go to that extra step to highlight that it's not just a fundamental organisation. This is a government-driven, well-thought-out, well-planned organisation. These people that sit there and teach children about religion, brainwashing all these youth children about the religion and these wives and all this stuff that you go eventually, that you will enter paradise. These clerks are government official spies. And when you have a victim of a terrorism or victims of terrorism, you're dealing with an official government organisation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is unfortunate,
Yes.
but this is reality. That some states they promote extremism, they support.
Thank you very much. Nasser Ali Saab. So I'm grateful and I'm very thankful to participate, all of you people. And you have a long day to participate in the different programs, and I'm not taking too long. You are going in dinner time. On the behalf of UKPNP, I'm especially thank you for all of NGOs representatives. I'm very thankful to different voices in the Congress. I'm well to stay here with thankful to BDM and other participants, delegates, coming from the different areas. And I'm especially thankful for the journalists, all of journalists who attend and cover this all of event. And especially we heard a lot of speeches, and we are there to, in these premises, we are all people to love the peace. And its conclusion is we love the peace, we are against the terrorism. If it's any kind, we are against the violation. If it's any type, and we condemn this all of violation and terrorism. And I'm very thankful to all of you to come here, and we are going now dinner. and his conferences